You know, in the rest of Canada and even in the United States, we often talk about Quebec and how they have some of the best labor laws, card check, anti-scab legislation, pension legislation, and about Quebec's has higher union density than most any other place. And we know that these things didn't just happen by accident. We know that the gains made in Quebec were the result of historic struggles and the activism of the union movement over many decades. We know that steelworkers are often the front and center of these historic battles. And today we see this same leadership and the commitment from our union in Quebec. We see how Quebec steelworkers continue to organize, to mobilize, and to fight, not only for the rights and interests of our members, but for all workers. We know that, like many other places, the current political situation in Quebec with the provincial government in power, they're not friendly to unions, but it hasn't stopped you from fighting back. Like you've always done, you're not only fighting back on behalf of our members, but you've stood in solidarity with the public sector workers who were under an attack and won a great victory. And we have no doubt that you will continue to do this fight in Quebec until we see the current provincial government turfed out of power. As Canadian director of our union, I want to talk about how encouraged and how proud I am of the relationship and solidarity we've built between all three of our Canadian districts. Our leadership is committed to mobilizing our activists in all our districts and providing the support they need to collaborate on crucial issues such as pension protection, unfair trade, anti-scab legislation, pay equity, and more. And we've seen that when we collaborate, when our districts come together, when our members come together from all three districts for common sense, we win. In June, we won the historic victory as federal anti-scab legislation was finally passed and received royal assent. Yeah, that's a victory. As I think Dominic or Nikolai had said, this victory was the result of decades of struggle by the union movement and especially by the steelworkers, who have a strong relationship with our progressive political allies, the Bloc and the NDP, and we know the work they did to get it over the finish line. Through cross-district collaboration and solidarity, our union members were critical in the late stages of that fight. They fought on the picket lines and through political action in their communities and on Parliament Hill in Ottawa. The federal anti-scab legislation will benefit tens of thousands of steelworkers and hundreds of thousands of workers across Canada. And some of our federally regulated members, such as those that are employed at TELUS, Local 1944. Next time they bargain with TELUS, with the law in place, it will be a game changer for them. I can tell you that company has attacked that local and attacked the Steelworkers Union, that this legislation in itself will increase the bargaining power for those workers to help them fight back against the employer's just endless attack on the union and the cutting of jobs. So it's not only great legislation, it's going to be great for the Steelworkers Union and specifically 1944, there are TELUS members that have been in a 10-year battle about job cuts and offshoring.